Hey guys, for Everything Horror, this is ABC Halloween, and today we are talking about Haunted Hill Farm, and that they're kind of turning away from Sunstar, and they're getting into the business of Halloween, teaming up with Techie Toys to return some classic 2010s animatronics that we thought would never see the light of day again. These animatronics are interesting. Now, we've had this info for most of these for a while now, but now I'm going to be talking about them since I think we've got some new ones as well. Now, I don't have a list of them right in front of me, so I'm going to try and remember their names. But these are classic techie props, that are returning, usually, it seems like mostly under other names. But it's still cool that they are doing this with Techie. If you don't know who Techie is, they were the top producer for animatronics back in the day besides Jemmy. They, are notorious for making the jumping spider that's been around for over 10 years at this point and still is in stores everywhere. They've made this thing Scarecrow and lots of those props. And by far, their classic animatronics definitely were the best of our time. And definitely nothing can beat the classic Jemmy and Techie props. And so I'm very glad that they're bringing these back. Now, some of these don't make sense, but I guess some do. Who knows these animatronics? We've got Damien and the Howler, which I'm very confused about, because these animatronics are from very far back in Spirit Halloween's days. And they just released a Monica, I think she's called, which is the vampire one. They returned her from like 2012, which is very interesting. But now Haunted Hill's returning the rest of those ones, which I think is weird since they all share the same exact mechanism, just like a new face, hands, and outfit. It's the same mechanism on each one, maybe with some different audio. We didn't have a need to have all these come out. Honestly, my favorite out of these is probably the Howler. He's a really cool one. So honestly, it's up to you to decide which one is your favorite. But they both will be returning this year, which is really questionable in my opinion, since Spirit did the Monica, so these don't make too much sense. But moving on to the next one, Rosemary will be returning. Which you might be wondering if I'm wrong about this, which I'm not. They are returning Rosemary, and you are correct if you're thinking that she returned a few years ago. Because she did Tamora's costumes. But she was wearing a black robe for some reason, and she didn't look good, let's just say. And so, it's wonderful that they're giving her this original look, for this returning one. But pretty much, she's just got the brain, she turns her head, moves her mouth, and then, out of nowhere, she flies towards ya, and she drops towards ya. So that's definitely interesting. And, I mean, it's not the best, but it's still really cool. Now, this next one is really something I was really excited for, because here we have got Ellie Hatchet from Spirit Halloween 2020. Now, this is the year I started going to Spirit Halloween and enjoying it fully, so this is amazing. This is just amazing that this is the situation. I mean, Ellie Hatchet is not the best prop. I'll say that. The only scary part about her is the jump scare movement, which I don't know if I've said this before. I probably haven't, but I probably will make a video about it. How scary means jump scare these days in the market. It doesn't mean actually scary looking. It means just a surprising action, a jump scare, I guess you could say. But, Ellie Hatchet was kind of cool. She had a tag that was supposed to be on her axe when you got her. Most stores were forced to leave it on, but it says, caution, moving parts, keep away from prop. Because she would hold her axe and she would actually swing it to the ground. Which is crazy for a robotic animatronic. And so I remember in some stores, it was breaking the cardboard stands she was on, which is pretty funny, and it hit some people, I remember. So it's definitely interesting that they're returning her, and I am very glad about that. But they did change one thing. That says they updated the audio, and if you know Haunted Hill with updating so to be said, updating some audio from Classic Techie Props, you know they don't do a good job. Because if you didn't know, Thrashing Clown from Spirit Halloween 2013, a classic with the TNT box you push and he goes off. They returned him and they changed his audio to what sounds like Sunstar audio. And so honestly, I hope they don't do that with this, although they said updated. I hope they leave that completely to Techie for good reasons. And not like the Sunstar audio soundtrack, but because her audio seems to be enough, but she just holds the axe, swipes down. And honestly, if she's affordable enough, I'd love this for a flashback to 2020, which was the year I started going to Spirit. So I guess that's cool. Next up, we've got the Pumpkin Sentinel, which is just kind of a placeholder name for Headless Jack. He's just this big Headless Horseman type guy. He's just pretty much a stick with cloth over it, with half a pumpkin head and lights and little, well, it looks like pipe cleaners for arms. And he's from 2021, so I really don't think we needed him to come out, or return, but I know this is a good site, because I think some YouTubers I've seen, have said that their Headless Jack animatronic, or their prop, has snapped in half in the welding, which is interesting. I remember his height was extendable, I think. So you could, like, reduce pulls and make him smaller. Which is definitely interesting, but still, I mean, I hope they did fix that. But it's good that he's returning, I guess, for those reasons. But honestly, wasn't a big fan of this guy. Sadly, he was one of the only props that my store got in 2021. So I don't like this thing, as you can probably tell. But Headless Jack, aka the Pumpkin Sentinel, is a good prop, I guess, if you like the pumpkin stuff. The next one is the Floating Ghost Bride. Very generic. It's from 2021 Home Depot. It's just W. Rafe from Spear Halloween, but improved. And that came out the same year as W. Rafe, I'm pretty sure. You know, it might have been the 2022 lineup. I don't quite remember, but I think it was 2021 Home Depot. Not a fan of this one by any means, but it's interesting. Alright, so besides that, we've also got the Ghost Lady, or the Lady of the Grave, or something she's called. She's an interesting one. Same exact mechanic and mechanism. It's just slightly different looking. Which, this one's probably my favorite out of all those ones that do that, like, movement. So I don't know. Very interesting, though. I think Nate, guy on YouTube, did a video of it, and he got it for like $60 at a store. So if you want to see her, probably go there, and he'll talk about like the features or something. Because I've not seen many videos of that, because that's an old Party City one, I think. So I think that's mainly it for this part of the video, but there are some new ones that were just teased as well. And right as I was about to finish editing this, I found out that there's going to be a 15-foot witch and a scarecrow coming out from them. And it seems like these are going to be $600 each. That's, I think, what they're going to be. Interesting. They look pretty generic and stupid, but we'll have to see. You know, I find this interesting that they're also returning the Tombstone Lifter from Classic Techie. Don't know much about this one, but I'm pretty sure it just raises the tombstone, revealing a ghoul face, something like that. Classic Techie. But you can go search it on your own, Techie Tombstone Lifter. But now we've also got SVI animatronics, since now they're teaming up with SVI too. So, it's interesting, these choices, but okay. For one thing, we've got Ghostly Guide. Who is that one? I mean, I feel like the name is familiar to me. I don't know about what he looks like. I don't know. Looks kind of generic for me. Sorry if he's a classic spirit prop and I don't know about him, but I'm just not a huge fan of him. Alright, but talking about Guard Zombie. Since Guard Zombie is returning online at Haunted Hill, and by the way, Haunted Hill has a Amazon page and their own website, so that means these will be able to get, you'll be able to have extremely easy access to these on Amazon pretty much wherever you live, which is much better than trying to scout out a Lowe's. But But this is this is the guard zombie from Lowe's last year, which is pretty recent. But he's cool. I kind of like his black and white color scheme. He seemed pretty cool with his animation in person with that movement. That was really cool. But they never looked like the demo, the prototype, the box, the stock photo. They never looked anything like that. And for the price, it should have been better quality control. This was kind of like the Heckles of Lowe's last year, I'll say that much. And they never sent out replacement heads, because it just looked horrible. It was so smashed in on most of them. In fact, my store, I think maybe you can go back and look at a demo, but mine's head was on freaking sideways. From the box, the mask was sideways. They were not done right, but hopefully SVI fixes this problem, especially since it's going on Amazon, where pretty much anybody can search for something, and it's accessible for anyone to buy. They better have done something good with his face, because I cannot imagine people just opening him and getting random-looking guard zombies. But anyway, that's Guard Zombie, and I think that's it, but let me see this. Oh yeah, and we've got two others, that one of the best one out of these last two, being the Smoldering Zombie, or the Smoldering Ghoul, I think his name is. I actually don't remember. But he's a very good animatronic by SVI, I'm pretty sure. And he was sold in Menards locations for the past few years, so I don't think he'll be in the stores this year or something. At Menards, because it's going to be online through these people now. But he's an interesting prop, and if you don't have a Menards near you, which you probably don't, it's more of a Midwest thing, I think. Or more of a thing that varies in each state and county. But in my area it is in the Midwest. But he was sold at Menards. He was really cool. He worked in 2022 at our store, but they didn't have him plugged in right last year, sadly. He's very interesting. His ghoulish face flickers orange. I'm pretty sure his hands and chest flicker orange, I'm pretty sure. And he's like this. And he just does this kind of movement with his arms. And it is really creepy. And honestly, Smoldering Ghoul's a great one. I think even GM Haunts might have made a video about it, I think. That he got a sample or something of it. Which is interesting, because I don't think they're for sale yet, but Smoldering Ghoul is definitely a cool one. And he has been around for a while, so get yours while you can from Haunted Hill Farm. And then, oh yeah, and I'm just going to end on a weird note. We've got a 12-foot scarecrow skeleton from Sunstar. And you know it's going to have a cheap Sunstar phrase. Yeah, they are not going to become creative. It's going to have a Sunstar phrase.
Welcome, little kitties. How about some tricks